Assalamu alaikum students. How are you all? I hope you are all fine. It's our social studies class and I am your teacher Sir Daud Shokat. In this class we will learn about unit number 10, which is ancient Greece. Ancient Greece is about people who lived a very long time ago. Today we will learn where Greece is, how the Greece lived, and what games and stories they had. Now let's start our lesson. I will first read a few sentences from the book and then explain them. You students can take notes while listening to this chapter. At the end of the chapter, we will discuss its exercises. Unit number 10, Ancient Greece. The ancient Greeks lived in Greece and land that is now part of Turkey. Okay, the ancient Greeks. The ancient Greeks were people who lived a very long time ago. They lived in a country called Greece and also in some land that is now part of Turkey. Now, where is Greece? Greece is in the continent of Europe. The sea almost surrounds it. Mountains cover most of the land. Okay students, where is Greece? Actually, Greece is a country in the continent of Europe. The sea is around most parts of Greece. There are also many mountains in this country. Okay. Now moving towards another heading, traders and sailors. Most of the land was not good for farming, but it was good for growing olive trees. The Greeks sent olives, olive oil, and earthenware pots that they made to other lands. They got wheat, corn, cloth, and wood from other lands. This is called trading. The ancient Greeks fished in the sea and sailed to the places they traded with. They built big trading ships, small fishing boats, and strong, fast warships. People in other lands liked their way of life. Okay, in this heading, most land in Greece was not good for farming crops. Okay, but it was good for growing olive trees. See the difference, students, here. The Greeks sent olives, olive oil, and clay pots to other countries. In return, what they get? They got wheat, corn, cloth, and wood, as it is written in this heading. Okay. Now, buying and selling things between countries is called trading. Please try to learn the definition of trading. Buying and selling things between countries is called trading. Okay. So the Greeks also caught fish from the sea. They used boats and ships to travel to other places. They made big ships for trade, small boats for fishing, and strong ships for war, as it is written in this heading. Okay, people in other countries liked the Greek way of living. So it was all about the two headings I have discussed, that where is Greece and traders and sailors, and also I have explained this introduction about ancient Greeks. Okay, now students, move towards another page and heading, which is gods and goddesses. The ancient Greeks worshipped many gods and goddesses in temples. It means that the ancient Greeks believed in many gods and goddesses and they prayed to them in temples. We can still see the remains of many of their temples and statues. The ancient Greeks believed that their gods and goddesses looked and behaved like humans, but had magical powers and could live forever. What does it mean? It means that they believed their gods looked like humans but had magical powers. They also believed the gods could live forever. Okay? They believed that different gods and goddesses were in charge of different things. The god Apollo was in charge of the sun, and they believed rode in a golden chariot that pulled the sun across the sky. The ancient Greeks believed that their 12 main gods who lived at the top of Mount Olympus, their main god was called Zeus. Okay, in this paragraph, you can see, you can learn that they thought each god was responsible for something. For example, the god Apollo was in charge of the sun, means that their god Apollo had the responsibility of the sun. The Greeks believed their 12 main gods lived on the top of Mount Olympus. You need to remember this information here. You can underline it, that Mount Olympus. Okay, their most powerful god was Zeus. Okay, now students, move to another page and heading as well. The new heading is Greek myths and legends. Okay, myths are stories that people make up to explain things, like why we have thunder and lightning, or why the seasons change. Now let's discuss that what is myth, students. A myth is a story people make to explain things in nature. Okay, for example, myths explain thunder, lightning, or the change of seasons. Okay, now legends are stories about real people or places or real events. They are not all true because storytellers made up parts to make them more interesting. Here is a legend about a war the Greeks fought against the Trojans, the people of Troy. Students, Trojans means the people of Troy. Whenever you see any information in bracket, it means that is about the word, okay, like Trojans, and against it is written in bracket, so it means that it is explaining the Trojan word, the people, that is the people of Troy. Okay, so now what is legend? A legend is a story about real people or places, but sometimes storytellers add imaginary parts to make the story more interesting. So it was all about Greek myths and legends. Now students, again on the same page we have a heading about the wooden horse of Troy. The Greeks fought a war for 10 years against their enemies, the Trojans. Dear students, I have already explained about Trojans. They are the people of Troy, as they are written in the above mentioned headings. Okay, the Greeks thought up a clever trick to play on the Trojans. They made a large wooden horse that was hollow. At night, they left it near the walls of Troy, the home of the Trojans. There were some Greek soldiers hiding in it. Now I am going to explain it. The Greeks fought a war against people of Troy for 10 years. You can make notes. Okay, the Greeks made a clever plan. Okay, they built a big wooden horse that was hollow inside. Hollow means, you can say in Urdu, khokhla. Okay, some Greek soldiers hid inside the horse. They used to hide themselves inside that horse. In Urdu you can say khokhla. Okay, they used to hide themselves in Urdu. The Greek army pretended to leave. The Trojans took the wooden horse inside their city. At night, the soldiers came out of the horse. They opened the city gates and the Greek army entered the city. The Trojans were sleeping, so the Greeks won the war. So it was all about the story about the wooden horse of Troy. Okay, good. Students, now move to another page, and it is the remaining part of the same heading. The Greek army pretended to sail away. Some Trojans saw the wooden horse. They took it into the city. It was a fine thing to take from their enemy. So it is written about all the Greek army, how they sail, okay, and how the Trojans, or the people of Troy, they saw the wooden horse, okay, and how they took them into the city. Okay, now that night the Greek soldiers came out of the horse and opened the city gates. Okay, that night the Greek soldiers, they came out of the horse and opened the city gates. The Greek army crept in. The Trojans were sleeping and not ready for battles, so the Greeks won easily. Okay, at night the soldiers came out of the horse, they opened the city gates, and the Greek army entered the city. The Trojans were sleeping, so the Greeks won the war. So it is all about how the Greeks people the Greeks soldiers won the war easily against their enemy. And who were their enemy? The Trojans. Now, on the same page, the another heading, which is the Olympic Games. So it is a small introduction, or you can write in your notes that it is a history of Olympic Games. The Olympic Games were first held more than 2700 years ago in Greece in a place called Olympia. You can underline that because it is a historic information about Olympic Games. They were held in honor of Zeus, their main god. So their main god was Zeus, and in his honor they held the Olympic Games. People from different parts of Greece came to Olympia to take part in the games. They held the games in a stadium. There were different kinds of sports. The athletes threw the javelin and discus as far as they could. They fought each other in boxing and wrestling matches. So there were different types of matches which are boxing and wrestling. Others raced each other on foot and on horses. So there were another game which was about race. Okay, they gave each winner a crown made of olive leaves. So how they awarded the winners? They awarded the winners with crown made of olive leaves. And even today, we still have the Olympic Games every 4 years. Athletes from all over the world compete in sports like swimming, basketball, tennis, and gymnastics. Winners receive gold, silver, and bronze medals. Okay, students, I hope you have understood it. So now again, on the next page, it is written as I have explained. Now we have the modern Olympic Games. Every 4 years, people from all over the world meet to run races and play other sports. New sports have been added. Some of these are basketball, swimming, tennis, and gymnastics. We give the winners gold, silver, and bronze medals. So now again, on the same page, another heading, which is Athens, a land with no king. In ancient times, Greece was made up of many small and large cities. Athens was the largest of these cities. It was a rich and beautiful city. No king or emperor ruled Athens. Instead, people chose their leaders by voting. The people of Athens made their own rules and laws. So, my dear students, very long ago, Greece had many cities. Athens was the biggest and most beautiful city. Athens had no king or emperor. King or emperor means Badshah. The people choose their leaders by voting. How they used to choose their leader? Through voting. Okay. The men met on a hill near the Acropolis to make decisions. Now they had meetings on a hill near the Acropolis. All the men went to the meetings. They could choose what should happen in Athens. Slaves and women were not allowed to vote. So it's a restriction who can vote or who cannot vote at that time. Now, my dear students, coming towards the exercise of this chapter, which we have learned, unit number 10, Ancient Greece. The first exercise is copy the sentences into your notebook, write true or false after each sentence, correct the false sentences, write the corrected sentences. Okay, what you have to do, my dear students, you have to write sentences into your notebook, in social studies notebook. Write true if the sentence is true, and if it is false, you have to write after each sentence false, and you also have to write the correct sentences. Okay, recall whatever you have learned in this chapter. If you feel difficulty, read again twice or thrice. Okay, and you have to solve it, and this is your today's activity. Okay, thank you. Now, my dear students, you can see the worksheet on your screen. You have to complete this worksheet after reading the lesson again. First, solve question number 1, which is about MCQs. Read the whole lesson again and choose the correct answer. Next, solve question number 2, which is about true and false. Read each statement carefully and write whether it is true or false. Finally, solve question number 3, which is identify the pictures. Look at the pictures carefully and write the correct answers. Complete the worksheet neatly. Good luck, students.